Hi everybody, it is the 10th of February 2022 and DayZ, well more precisely Scotty from DayZ, the community manager, has dropped the roadmap for 2022, or an article which kind of alludes to being a roadmap. I don't know if they'll do another one, with like graphs and thumbnails and things like that. So let's go through this very interesting and exciting document that maybe hints at some very exciting things to come. But let's read the words. So, hello survivors, update 1.16 is on the way, and we thought this would be a good time to outline some of our plans for 2022. You'll be happy to know that we are committed to supporting DayZ throughout 2022 and will continue to release frequent updates that include a healthy balance of fixes, stability, balancing and new content. Excuse me while I take a drink of my coffee. As we mentioned at the end of last year, Update 1.16 won't be packed with new features. Instead, we've chosen to tackle our backlog of issues and set a firm foundation for our future plans. With that in mind, we'd like to point out that Update 1.16 has entered its experimental phase, and we expect its official release to occur on February the 15th. Just to be clear, we are not wiping with Update 1.16, though we will continue to wipe on a semi-regular basis. So what they're talking about here, when they talk about wipes, they're just talking about the official servers. Okay, they're not talking about the community servers. It's been a long time since we've had a mandatory wipe on community servers. It might be like 1.06 or something. It was a long time ago. So they're just talking about official servers here. More likely than not, Update 1.17 will serve as the first wipe of the year. The reasons for this are purely balance related, and we'll be making all relevant announcements beforehand. As for the rest of the year, unlike last year, we would like to pay more attention to our official terrains. This is particularly true for Livonia, where we would like to add new points of interest and try to make the environment a bit more interactive. Now, this is really important, because they don't go into much details, and in fact we wouldn't want them to go into too much details about this. And often it can be difficult to think about, okay, so when did they last update things? But remember, say with Chernarus, we had things like the ski resort was put in, wasn't it? And we had things like the fun fairs put in, things like that. So these small additions can make a big difference. Now, the thing I would say is that if you've got a copy of the DayZ Livonia hiking map, start looking at it now and start looking for things that are on the hiking map that aren't in the real map. Because with the Chernarus hiking map, that I remember I had it before they put in the ski resort, it was actually on the map. So the clues may well already be on that map. So have a look. So it sounds really cool, especially for console, where on PlayStation and Xbox, the likelihood of us getting a new map, say one of the community maps like the Malsk or Deer Isle, are really low. It doesn't seem like they're going to do that in the foreseeable future. So for them to ramp up and make something like Livonia a little bit more interesting would be very good. Right, next paragraph. We plan on ramping up our asset production this year. That includes a plan to introduce a variety of utility items to enrich the overall sandbox, as well as providing meaningful tools players can use to interact with each other and the environment. I mean, that could mean so many things. So utility items, so maybe something to do with farming, fishing, hunting, meaningful tools that players can use to interact with each other. So, I mean, we've got radios, maybe a better radio system. Maybe notes are coming, so you could write things down and then leave notes for people. It could be lots, maybe, I don't know, a plough for a tractor with a plough on the back. But it's really cool the fact that they're giving us these clues about what's coming. As usual, we intend to offer at least one new firearm with each update. Unlike last year, we'll be focusing more on civilian firearms this time around, mixing those which were previously included, legacy versions, with new ones as well. So we'll see some of the old DayZ weapons from before 0.6, whatever they were, and then some new ones as well. Will we be getting a bow? I mean, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Is it a hunting bow? That's a civilian. It's not a firearm, though, is it? They've got they've got some new people working with them, so they can do the animations. That would be cool. I'd like to see a bow come into the game. But new weapons on the way and civilian ones, which I think is very, very cool. We don't really need more military stuff, do we? Now, how about this? We're in the process of importing the latest version of vehicle simulation from a newer version of our Enfusion engine. So the game that the engine that runs the game. We hope this will bring some much needed stability to vehicle simulation in DayZ and expect to perform some public testing in the coming weeks. So we know the problem with vehicles in DayZ really is especially bad on older hardware and the older consoles like the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Vehicles are very dangerous to drive around in because the console loses sync with the server, and then you end up driving into a tree and you die, or the hard-earned vehicle gets ruined. But when you're on high-end hardware like an Xbox Series S, Series X, or a PlayStation 5, or a nice gaming PC, you don't get those problems. So it's really cool they're bringing this in, so that it makes because vehicles transform the game. When you've got a vehicle, it really does change things. And let's remember, now I'm not saying this is going to happen, but if you can get cars working consistently as they should do on PlayStation and Xboxes, so you can drive them at 70 miles an hour around the map, if you can get that working, there's no reason why you can't bring in other types of vehicles as well, because the helicopters in DayZ mods, they're basically modded cars. So if you can get cars working properly, it means you can get helicopters working properly. Now, I'm not saying that's happening. There's no clue to that in these notes at all. But I'm just saying, if you get cars working, that is the first step in saying, okay, so the cars now work. It's now worth us bringing back the bus. Bringing in boats, powered boats, that sort of stuff. We plan on dedicating some time to the control scheme on controllers. This includes adding more sensitivity options and additional VoIP, voice over Internet Protocol functionalities. Speaking of controls, we also plan on revisiting the way users combine various gestures to keys. This might be interesting. Maybe we will see the inventory system be improved. That would be nice. Maybe we'll even see parity between the way the inventory system works on PC and console. So on PC, when you put stuff in your backpack, you kind of can play a little game of Tetris and you move stuff around, where we don't actually have to do that on console. You just put stuff in. I like the way the inventory system works on console, apart from the fact that sometimes items are hidden when it doesn't quite stretch across the screen properly. But I don't know, interesting, let's see. Seasonal events will return this year, which we plan on spicing up with new content and features. So, Christmas, Halloween, what will there be? There'll be some sort of spring festival, won't there? And some sort of summer festival as well. Exciting. Yeah, good. Last but not least, we'll be enriching and expanding upon Hannah's lore, which has already been introduced in previous DayZ update videos. Both our publishing and production departments will be working to support the lore in-game and through other media. So if you're not aware of this, in the run-up to the release of the 1.15 was update, the one that gave us the gas zones, there was lots of sort of sneak peeks and what would you call them? There was lots of tweets where the community team were kind of saying that there was all these cryptic messages that were coming out, and the Hannah, and there was something like the was it like the Yellow King or something like that? I didn't really get heavily involved in it, to be honest. I'm not that good at working these things out, but again, it's interesting. We plan on releasing 5 updates this year, ranging from minor to major. We'll also be holding 4 seasonal in-game events. Another thing we're doing is working with our partners in the community to improve and maintain the game's performance and stability. So what they're talking about there specifically is Nitrado servers for console. 100%. There's been so much bad feedback from people who hire Nitrado servers, because you have to hire Nitrado servers on console. You don't have a choice. And they feel that the performance of those servers, especially if you go above 60 players, just isn't up to it. It should be much better. And they go on to say that includes ensuring as much as possible that older generations of hardware are not left behind. There we go. So they've noted that, and without saying directly, we're going to get them to maybe move some servers to better hardware. They're saying they're working on it. A couple of final notes. First, we'll be expanding our team. So if you're interested in working in DayZ, on DayZ, or know someone who is, then make sure to check out our career page. And if you'd like to get your hands on some cool DayZ clothing and accessories, then make sure to head on over to our merch store. That's it for now. Enjoy the new update. We'll be seeing you again soon. On behalf of the DayZ's team, Scotty. Right, so if you go over and have a look at the job openings, they've got a job opening for a senior artist, if you fancy going over to Prague in the Czech Republic. And in the store, the thing that I've noticed that's new is the DayZ Livonia metal cup. That looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Everything else looks the same. They could do with more merch, couldn't they? But we were talking about the map. So there's the DayZ Livonia map. I've got this on my wall in front of me. And we click on that. There we go. So I'm going to start going through this map with a fine-tooth comb and kind of comparing this with the real map in the game, just to see if there's anything that's on there. Now, all very exciting, all very, very cool. Now, something that isn't on here is specifically console things. And I know specifically that Adam Franku, the Sumrak Namalsk survivor, the lead developer of DayZ, he has specifically said in live streams that they will be bringing to console the ability for us to change our initial startup loadout as a fresh survivor on Chernarus or Livonia. They won't be giving us access directly to the init.c file, but there will be something that's coming along that, when your survivors spawn in on your community server, instead of spawning in with a flare, a bandage and a pair, you can spawn in with an M416, a military gear, backpack, and a knife. That will be coming because Adam very much understands that the console community feel a little bit left behind when it comes to DayZ, and we know the console community we're looked down on by the PC community, who are like, oh yeah, look, we've got all this stuff and you're still just playing on Chernarus and Livonia. But the sheer imagination that many members of the console modding community especially put into DayZ, often some of the stuff that we've managed to do with XML files and JSONs, it's been pretty good. It's been pretty amazing, and I think he's seen that, and he really wants to get behind developing DayZ for console. And okay, they might not be able to bring us, Namalsk or Deer Isle, those maps, but he can try and bring us all the tools that he possibly can, so that we can change what we can within the game. To really kind of make it stand out and make community servers where you want them to be different, you can make them very different indeed. So there we go, DayZ in 2022. I'll put a link to this article in the description below this video. What do you think? What are you looking forward to? The big comment that always gets put on DayZ's posts and tweets is always, what about the cars? What about the vehicles? And look, they're going to be doing something about it. Anyway, that's enough for me. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.